What's your favorite memory of Trent Dilfer?
Man, there are a lot of Trent Dilfer memories, the highs and the lows and the in-betweens. But, you think about the story arc for each one of these Bulldog legends. And for Trent, if you know the backstory, he was recruited here as a defensive end, right? So how's that guy going to be one of the greatest quarterbacks and have his number retired and all that? But I distinctly remember, because those teams were really good. I was a kid. Sorry, Trent, not to make you feel old. But they had a phenomenal quarterback who never gets enough credit, named Mark Barsotti. Maybe the best winner Fresno State's ever had at that position. He just did everything it took to win, and he breaks his leg. And I think a lot of people thought, well, what's going to happen to this team now, But here comes Trent Dilfer, who doesn't look like a quarterback. He's big, he's huge shoulders, built more like a linebacker, a tight end. He's got the flowing hair, right? I don't know, Trent now is pretty reflective up here, but back then it was this flowing mane.
Uh-huh.
And, it's like, where'd this guy come from? And, of course, he came from the Santa Cruz area, Aptos, and he was a revelation. I mean, great arm, great receiving core. He's throwing the ball to Malcolm Sebron and Titus Winans and making big plays. But what a lot of people, if they saw his NFL career, probably don't realize, he had some huge runs at Fresno State. And you see this guy taking off and going 40, 50-plus yards, like, okay, I guess Trent's a pretty special athlete. But what Trent is more than anything is a leader. He just has a real passion for leadership. And I know that there are going to be some other good things to come from that.
Take me through Dilfer's performance at the Freedom Bowl and what you remember.
It's funny because that was his signature win, but that was a game that it was about the line of scrimmage and them running the ball more. Mm-hmm. And, he probably had quarterback sneaks that were bigger plays than throws in that game. But again, a team game, and he would be the first to tell you that Jim Sweeney did him a great favor by holding him accountable when he wasn't doing the right thing, saying, hey, this is not like you. This is who you need to be. And now that's how he coaches people. That's how he coached his daughters, who are great athletes, right? And in that Freedom Bowl, it was the ultimate opportunity for Fresno State, the thing that Bulldog fans have been dreaming about forever. You got to remember who USC was at that point. Now, this is before the Pete Carroll revival, but it's still the Trojans. And people in the Valley grew up watching some of the great players from the Valley go to USC and win national championships. Charlie Young, the great tight end, or Pat Howell, the offensive lineman, or Todd Steele from Kingsbury. You keep going on, all these great Valley athletes. If they want to really be big time, they've got to go to USC. Okay, now the Trojans have to deal with the Bulldogs. And the Red Wave goes down to Anaheim, and they're filling the stadium. And you knew at the end of that night, USC might have had these All-American players. They might have had the reputation. But Fresno State was a tougher team, and Trent Dilfer embodied that toughness at the quarterback position. And I know to this day, if you ask Trent, that's got to be, he won a Super Bowl as a quarterback.
Of course.
But that Freedom Bowl's got to be in his top 2 or 3 memories of his entire football career.
He was inducted into Fresno State's Ring of Honor, one of the few quarterbacks to have that honor. He's also in the top 10 of Fresno State's passing yards. A lot of important guys up there. We've got David Carr, Derek Carr up there at the top. What does it say about Trent Dilfer's Bulldog legacy?
I think his Bulldog legacy will be one of casting a vision. What he did, because at the time he was breaking the records, right? The cars got to come along and top what he did. But he did things that Bulldog quarterbacks hadn't done before, and he gave them something to shoot for. And not only that, then, he becomes a first-round draft pick. He goes to the pros. I mean, when David Carr gets drafted by an expansion team, he's able to talk to Trent Dilfer. What was it like to go to Tampa Bay when they were horrible? How did Tony Dungy make such a big difference? What can I look forward to in my career? And I think, the example that Trent set, not just what he did in the NFL, but how he handled it, I think was a big bonus for the guys who came after him.